Hello, Commanders of Azur Lane and other people in YouTube, Lucky Mies205 over here, and this time we're gonna review Köln META. But in this case, I think it would be right to pronounce the upgraded Köln. Excuse me, I almost mixed two words in my tongue. Metamorphosis Köln or Transformed Köln, but let's go with the Köln META. Now, the thing about meta ships and the original shipgirls is that meta ships are supposed to be slightly better compared to the original counterparts. But in this case, if you know about Köln history in Azur Lane, see some of those very easy to access, and one of those you can actually retrofit once you have started the game. And Köln META is supposed to be an elite version of Köln itself, because Köln starts her life as a common. But once you retrofit Köln, she becomes rare. And then Meta is now the thing, so Köln now has a elite version of herself. So let's find out what's different between elite Köln and common or retrofit Köln. Well, if you want to support my content and the future shenanigans, subscription is a thing, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get future notifications as well. Now then, the original Köln in level 125 without no retrofit, her HP is 3450, but if you retrofit Köln, her HP can reach 3690, very nice buff. But in this case, if you have Köln META in base stat, level 125, her HP is 3595. So it is between retrofit and her original HP design. Or stat, excuse me. So there's a slight buff, but in this peculiar case, it seems like her HP is slightly increased from the common standard, because her retrofit has 3690. So Köln META is slightly behind. Now as for the firepower, her original is 155, but the retrofit version is 175. But in META ship is 163. So in these two stats, it's kinda obvious that they mainly focused on upgrading Köln from her common base, not from the retrofit. She has torpedoes. In META has 290, while her original has 276. AA 354, and her original has 341. So there's a slight increase on the AA, but it is very obvious based on these two screens I have between Köln and Köln META and retrofit. Really shows that retrofit is dominating every stat between elite, common and meta. So Köln META has way more benefits. Stats, excuse me. Nevertheless, let's go with the original. Let's focus on the Köln META. Her reload 100 and 85. Her evasion 127, speed is 32, accuracy 161. Her luck stat is 62, which is very good, even amongst other meta ships. Her anti-submarine is 117, and her oil cost is 11. No, wait. 111. 11. Okay. I don't know. Well, that is going to be a very expensive ship. 111. 11 points is her oil cost. While her original, the Köln and Köln retrofit, has only 8. Which means, well, if you know, meta ships tend to be very expensive to run. Now, as for her, let's just say, armament. Her main gun, she gets 1 main gun, and that main gun efficiency is 120%. Light cruiser gun. She gets torpedoes, which is 170% efficiency. Her anti-air, 130% efficiency, which is not bad. 130%, while her original actually has the same 130%, but if you retrofit, she actually has 135%. So there's a 5% difference between Köln and Köln retrofit, and of course Köln META. But let's go with the juicy part. Let's start off starting her skills. Now is her support skill. Enemy intel research. 10 seconds after the battle starts and every 20 seconds. Decreases the evasion of all enemies on the field by 10% for 5 seconds. When this effect activates, if the ship has an FL-282 equipped, launches an FL-282, revealing all submerged enemies and decreasing their evasion by 10% for 5 seconds. Additionally, increases your submarines and aviation submarines damage dealt by 20% and your vanguard's anti-submarine weaponry by 10%. Next up is offensive firepower assessment. Every 20 seconds increases this ship firepower and accuracy by 30% for 10 seconds and fires level 10 special barrage. For every enemy hit by this barrage, increases this ship firepower and torpedo by 5%. Only counts 1 hit per enemy. Can be stacked up to 3 times. When this barrage hits the same enemy again, increases that enemy's damage taken from Köln META by 5%. Can be stacked up to 3 times. And Cinders of Hope Köln 2. Every time the ship fires her main guns, fire special barrage. And in Operation Siren, same stuff, but there is a bonus when fighting humanoid siren fleets or boss fleets. Decreases this ship's damage taken by 6%. Now let's start with the skills. Enemy intel research. I have to say I am very impressed how good it is. And honestly, I don't remember many skills that focuses on increasing your submarines, and I mean all submarines. You know those Sakura Empire submarines with the airplanes? Those are SSVs. And normal submarines are SS. Damage stealth by 20% and your vanguards and submarine weaponry by 10%. I admit, this actually is very helpful to submarines and your fight against submarines. As long as you have this very old and perhaps, I don't know, is it forgotten, augment or equipment. Auxiliary, that was what I was looking for. Auxiliary gives 24 anti-submarine weaponry and gear properties, is made by the Iron Blood. And only Köln is able to have this, because historically Köln was given this very peculiar helicopter. This is monthly pass ship, and I have seen very interesting ships over the years, but I must approve this one because this seems very good. Improvement to the Köln, but of course you must have Colibri equipped. I think that's what this thing means. Additionally increases. It either requires you to have FL2A2 or it doesn't. Okay, I'm just thinking too much. By the way, next up, firepower assessment. Well, 20 seconds. It's very long, but increase this firepower and accuracy by 30% for 10 seconds. 30% is a huge. Perhaps just for 10 seconds. Personally, okay. It is instantly. It's not RNG. It's not bad. It's very balanced. Let's just say it is very balanced. Increases firepower and accuracy by 30% for 10 seconds and fires level 10 special barrage. Damage is based on the skill level. Not bad. It's not bad. It's actually very good, in my opinion. For every enemy hit by this barrage, increases firepower and torpedo by 5%. Only counts one hit per enemy. Can be up to 3 times. So every 20 seconds fires special barrage. And those hit by this barrage, Köln gets extra firepower and torpedo increased by 5%. That's basically 15%. It takes 1 minute, 60 seconds to have this buff. Increase that enemy's damage taken from Köln META by 5%. %? Now, let's think it a while. Is it like, how does this barrage look like? I will have to take a look into it on my replays when I play in Köln. And It actually increases. It's not bad, although it's very long to actually gain this. Maximum 15%. But either way, if you can actually make shipgirl survive over a minute... No, wait. 60 seconds. Let's go with 60 seconds. What I'm saying, 60 seconds to get full 50%. It can work. It depends on what type of battle you are in with the Köln. And this barrage, if we go with the research, ability of abusing, there's improved cinders of hope. From here we can actually see very impressive barrage Köln can actually make. Very wide and direct. Very impressive. Very impressive. And before we go to my last opinions about Köln META, I almost completely forgot her character design. Now, as for the character design itself, you can see that her rigging is completely changed, although you can actually see 150mm SKC guns, their backs, and she has turned into a green, yellow and black, which is same colors as the Regensburg meta. And this is all tied to the mysterious faction called the Holy Unitas Empire. I don't know what the Holy Unitas Empire is, but that's Köln META and Regensburg META's own dimension. Now, if we were going to compare the Köln to her original girl in the design, I will say the Köln META have gained some impressive, very interesting upgrades, not just to her rigging but also her design. And I have to say, I'm actually vibing with this design. Let's check the skins. We can actually hide behind over there. Let's inspect again. Yep, that's a very interesting design we have on a Köln. Very interesting design. And I'm fine with it. I love this design. It didn't change Köln much, but then you can see some changes in Köln. Well, actually, what I'm saying, the clothing is there. The clothing may have changed, yes. It has changed. But in retrofit, Köln gets a cape. But in this case, her cape is much bigger. But in retrofit version, she has this interesting shoulder ropes, or what are they called? And now meta version also has the same thing. Yeah, I say this is a very impressive, very great design for Köln. And I love it. I love it. I love this design. Now then, back to the video. Now, about the fleet. I'm planning to use Köln META in this very expensive 81 oil cost fleet that contains Regensburg META, Admiral Hipper META, Glorious META, Nagato META and Elizabeth META. And I will give my honest opinions about Köln, and actually try to make some type of meta fleet can actually give very interesting buffs to the Vanguard and itself. See you on the voiceover section. Alright guys, voiceover Lucky Mies over here, and yes, Köln META. And I have to say, we have many shipgirls, and she's going to probably be the only one I personally know who has a skill that gives some buff to our beloved submarines. Now, of course, my mind is a little bit speculated that there was a couple of characters from the Sakura Empire who also gave some nice buff to the submarines. Thanks to their torpedo. Was it Amagi carrier? Gave some kind of torpedo buff to the Sakura Empire submarines and all other stuff. By the way, yes, I believe, although in paper she doesn't do much, but she's a very impressive support character to our submarines. And of course against other enemy submarines as well. Now Köln META may be a little bit weaker compared to the original Köln, perhaps, because if you have listened carefully what I was trying to explain between Köln META and the original Köln, it is actually a retrofit Köln who can actually outperform only by stat-wise to the meta version. Because meta version seems to be a upgraded version from the original Köln, which is common Köln, not the retrofit. And of course, original Köln only has like a full firepower, something like every 20 seconds, 60% chance to increase this ship firepower by 40% for 10 seconds, and if you give Köln the Aqua module, every 20 seconds, 80% chance to increase this ship firepower by 40% for 10 seconds. When this activates, fires level 10 special barrage, damage is based on the skill level. Barrage pattern is determined at random. And of course there is a retrofit Köln with the Colibri Assault. 10 seconds after the battle begins and every 30 seconds after that while equipping FL282 launches one FL282 revealing the location of enemy submarines, reducing their evasion by 15% and increasing their damage taken by 15% for 10 seconds. So this is the original Köln. Now although meta ship is fine, enemy intel research 10 seconds after battle starts and every 20 seconds decreases the evasion of all enemies of the field by 10% for 5 seconds. I confess it is a little bit not impressive, only 5 seconds. I was hoping to be at least 15 seconds or 20 seconds. When this effect activates, if this ship has an FL282 equipped, launches FL282, revealing all submerged enemies and decreasing the evasion by 10% for 5 seconds. Same problem, 5 seconds, not impressive. Additionally, increases your submarines and aviation submarines damage dealt by 20% and your vanguards and submarine weaponry by 10%. I am more into the increasing your damage dealt by your submarines. But as per usual, because I intend to think too much, I am hoping that this is not time-based. Although it is after 5 seconds, because it says additionally, if you only have FL282 and it does the thing, and the 5 seconds thing, it just gives this damage dealing buff to submarines without this second base stuff. If that's the thing, I'm fine with it. Because it would be very absurd if your submarines only gives 5 seconds some kind of very impressive damage dealt buff. And that will be problematic. But I believe it is straightforward buff without any downgrades like adding seconds to it. I'm gonna use Köln META quite often in the future. Because I believe, of course, I'm saying this because, of course, I have to also translate this English to myself, because Finnish is my main language. So I'm fine with it. I'm actually going to use enemy intel research quite often. And I have to say I am slightly worried that Köln META might suffer survival problems on a high level maps. But with the very good healing characters like Unicorn, not impressive. Well, who else other than Unicorn? She's gonna keep Köln alive very long, I'm very confident with that. And next up with the firepower assessment, every 20 seconds, increase this firepower and accuracy by 15% for 10 seconds. What am I saying? 30% for 10 seconds, excuse me. 10 seconds? Yeah, very questionable, but 30% just firepower and accuracy, and every 20 seconds. I know 20 seconds is quite long, but there is something like a 10 second... no way. It is actually very long. 10 seconds active time, and then there is a 20 seconds cooldown, and then it activates again. Oh boy. Instead of... Oh no, wait, is it like every 20 seconds? Is it like 10 seconds? I don't know, I need to do some proper research to that. By the way, every enemy hit by this barrage increases firepower and torpedo by 5%. Only counts one hit per enemy. So... one hit per enemy. So every 20 seconds. Okay, gotcha. I did test how this barrage looks like, and it's very simple mix red and green bullets, straightforward barrage, so you have to hope there is enemy in front of this very thin barrage. I'm not sure how wide it is at the end or how long it is, but I'm very confident this barrage is very useful, but every 20 seconds, and there's a 10 seconds action time. So like 10 seconds after that. First is 20 action, 10 seconds, then there is a... Does the cooldown start right away when this skill activates? Like there's a 10-second cooldown and then it activates again? I don't know. I haven't checked that yet. I haven't talked about it. But if that's the case, that is going to be really good. And of course, when this bar hits the same enemy again, increase that enemy's damage taken from Köln META by 5%, can be stacked up to 3 times. Let's just say you are using Köln in a boss fleet, and the boss intends to take this barrage 3 times in a very good day. Köln can do some work. The problem is, you just need to give Köln META very suitable equipment to do the job. So she's only depending on your skills. That's all there's to it. And of course there is a siren version. Every 8 times this ship fires main guns, fires special barrage when finding given a siren fleets or boss fleet, decrease this damage, make it by 6%. It's fine, it increases your survivabilities and so on and so forth, takes less damage. And every 8 times this ship fires main guns, fires special barrage. It is a nice barrage. And of course, very nice skills to the Operation Siren as well. She's a very decent meta light cruiser, and I have to admit, she's a very decent and something like I would recommend using future fleets if you want to use submarines. But of course, you must build that fleet where Köln is, where Köln can actually get some very nice buffs from the other ships that are universal buffs. Something like Admiral Senker or Queen Elizabeth Meta, like example. But any ship girl that can actually give some very nice buff to the Vanguard, and which Köln Meta can also benefit. She's gonna be accessible somewhere in the future if you miss this ship. I'm very confident. And I highly recommend using her. Although she is expensive, I know. But your submarines can actually be useful. And she is also buffing herself, which is also very, very good. Some degree. But that doesn't change the fact that also Köln Retrofit can be slightly better compared to the Köln Meta, but I'm leaning towards the Köln Meta at this point. I'm leaning Köln Meta and its capabilities. We have now come to the end of this very nice review. She's a very decent ship and a very usable ship. Meta ship, very usable. Perhaps even main campaign, I have to admit. My name is LuckyMias205. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share and comment. It also helps in our algorithm. Please take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.